Welcome to Super Science University Bhagavad-Gita, which only can fulfill any of your wishes, aka the real Santa. Plus, it will give you permanent happiness with your freedom in the end. And it is the permanent solution to any of your problems, the highest, most prime, secret, and the only complete knowledge, which is the source of everything, and it answers every possible question. Please refer to Yatharth Gita by Swami Adgadanand on yatharthgita.com or Spotify, which is the only genuine and complete source of knowledge. Half knowledge and incomplete knowledge is dangerous. So, previously we were talking about whether ghosts can enter our body or not. So, the answer was yes. So, let's continue. When you are filled with determination, you expand. Determination is an expanding thing. And when your determination is weak, you shrink. When you are filled with an inferiority complex, you shrink. This phenomena of shrinking and expanding happens inside us. So, when you are weak, scared, frightened, full of self reproach, full of self doubt, full of self disbelief towards yourself, full of disappointment towards yourself, then the subtle body within you shrinks. And then there is so much space in this body of yours that any mind can enter. You can open the door. Generally, good minds do not enter. There is a reason for not entering. Because a good mind keeps trying to be free from the sensual pleasures throughout his life. In a sense, a good mind keeps trying to be free from the body itself. But all the experiences of a bad mind's life are experiences of bodily pleasures. And when the bad mind is out of the body and does not get a new birth, then its agony becomes intense. Its pain becomes intense. It is not getting its own body, a womb is not available. But it tries to taste sensual pleasures by riding on someone's else's body. So, if there is a person with weak resolve anywhere, the mind is ready to enter. That is why women are more prone to evil spirits than men, because we have not been able to make women strong willed till now. The responsibility lies with men, because men have constantly tried to break the will of women. Because whoever is considered to be a slave cannot be made strong willed. Whoever wants to be made as a slave, that person's will has to be weakened. That is why for thousands of years there have been a constant effort to weaken the will of women. The spiritual cultures have also made a tremendous effort to weaken the will of women, to frighten them, to intimidate them, because the prestige of men will depend on their fear. Now, since Osho couldn't understood the true meaning of Gita, everyone will appreciate him for supporting women empowerment. He is not wrong. Nowadays, there are no true men and no true women because the true knowledge has been lost. But don't worry, I have found a genuine and complete source of knowledge. So, that ghost enters a woman quickly and the quantity is very high. So does the quality. Only 10% of men are afflicted by ghost. 90% women are afflicted. Because in the case of women there is no resolve. The space is empty, entry is easy. The stronger the resolve, the deeper the faith in oneself. Then our mind is completely surrounded by our body. If the resolve becomes even bigger, then our subtle body forms a circle outside our body as well, even outside. That is why sometimes if you go to some person whose resolve is very big, you will immediately find a change in your resolve because their resolve forms a circle outside their body as well. If you go inside that circle, then you will find your resolve changing, even near a very bad person. So, company matters. If you go to a prostitute, it will make a difference. If you go to a saint, it will make a difference. Because the circle of his resolve, the circle of his subtle body is spread beyond his gross body. This spread can be very big. Within this spread, you will suddenly find that something has started happening inside of you as well, which does not seems to be yours. You were a different kind of person, but something else is happening inside now. So our resolve can be of small that it shrinks within this body. It can be so big that it spreads outside the body so that it can impact others. It can be so big that it can surround the whole universe. Those who said Aham Brahmasmi have experienced it at that moment of resolve, when the entire resolve surrounds the whole universe. Then the moon and stars seems to be moving inside, not outside. Then the entire existence seems to be contained within us. The resolve shrinks so much that a person does not even know for sure whether he is alive or dead. It shrinks so much. It is only when this resolve is very narrow that atheism attacks deeply. It is only when a resolve is expanded then theism attacks deeply. The more resolve expands, the more a person feels like a believer. Because existence becomes so vast that there is no reason left to be an atheist. When resolve shrinks a lot, one feels like an atheist. When one's own feet are shaky, when one's own existence is at that it does not exist, as if it does not exist, theism cannot emerge at that moment. At that time, a feeling of no, a feeling of nothingness towards life arises. Atheism and theism are psychological truths. Psychological. So, it is your own experience, guys. Simon Weil has written that till the age of 30, I had severe headaches. I used to have them 24 hours a day. So I could never imagine that God could exist. It is very difficult for someone who has a headache 24 hours a day to believe that God can exist. Now it is very interesting that even a small thing like a headache can keep God out of the door. She kept talking the about the non-existence of God. It never occurred to Simon Weil that there is a very deep medical reason for the non-existence of God. It never occurred to her that the reason for non-existence of God is headache. No more logic and reasoning. The person has a headache, the feeling of no arises in his mind. The feeling of yes does not arise in his mind. For the feeling of yes, a lot of happiness is needed inside. Then the feeling of yes arises. Now be very careful. That happiness is not in which usually we see people have been lost. That's called Maya. True happiness starts to arise after a deep sorrow. Then gradually one starts to move towards spirituality, meaning the stage of waking up. Then the headache was cured. Then she realized that the feeling of denial within her had diminished. Then she realized that at some unknown moment she had started turning from an atheist to a believer. Guys, remember, believing is not just by faith. Believing comes after true practical experiences. So you must remember this. If the resolve is weak, then evil spirits can enter. Evil spirits, which are basically evil minds, which we call ghosts, can enter because they are impatient. They are impatient all the time to take some enjoyment from your body since they do not have a body of their own. And the pleasures of the body cannot be taken without the body. This is the problem.